The morning was rainy, gloomy, and very unlucky for Ethan. He spilled coffee on his new shirt and then couldn't find an important document in his briefcase for a long time, as if it was hiding on purpose. Additionally, he had been coughing for the past 2 weeks and couldn't sleep properly. The man decided to skip breakfast since he had no appetite at all. As if that wasn't enough, the keys to his apartment fell behind the dresser, and it took him a long time to retrieve them. A sleepy Freya then came out of the bedroom, looking gorgeous even in her pajamas. She stretched, fixed her stubborn red curls, and pouted her charming, plump lips capriciously. "Are you going to escape from the house without kissing your sweetie? You were running around the apartment like an elephant and woke me up." Ethan hugged her tenderly and kissed her on the cheek. "I'm sorry, sweetie. Today is not my day. Everything is falling apart. I really have to go. I have important negotiations today. Have a nice day, my love." Freya sent him off with a kiss and went back to bed. She didn't need to go anywhere. It was pouring outside, the wind was howling, and it was blowing the last leaves off the trees. Ethan got into his car, but it wouldn't start. The battery was dead. He hit the steering wheel angrily and muttered, "I was going to change the damn battery. Why didn't I do it sooner? What am I supposed to do now? I'm so late. All right, I guess I need to call a cab." Ethan lived outside the city, and it was difficult to get a cab when it was pouring. The taxi service dispatcher monotonously answered, "All the drivers are busy. We'll call you back." Ethan almost shouted, "What the hell? Why am I so unlucky?" The man rushed to the bus stop and waited for public transportation. Finally, a bus pulled up. He hadn't used public transportation for many years, so it felt unusual for Ethan. He sat down at the back of the bus, put on the hood of his raincoat, and closed his eyes. Ethan even dozed off but was awakened by shouting. A modestly dressed, pretty girl had entered the bus. She was soaked to the bone and shivering from the cold. The driver demanded she pay for the ride, but the poor girl looked at the hole in her pocket and whispered, "Oh my goodness, I lost the money and didn't even notice." "Wait, I'll check another pocket, there should be some money in there." The girl checked all her pockets, but they were empty. She blushed, clearly embarrassed, but the driver scolded her loudly, "I don't care. Either pay for the ride or get out. I'm not giving you a ride for free." Ethan couldn't stand it. The scandal seemed to have erupted over nothing. The man walked over to the driver and pulled his bank card out of his pocket. "Let me pay for her ticket." The driver shrugged and silently handed the girl a ticket. The girl exhaled and smiled at Ethan. "Thank you so much. You literally saved me. But please, don't think I'm a liar. I really lost the money. By the way, my name is Olivia." Ethan smiled back, introduced himself, and suggested the girl sit next to him. Suddenly, Olivia said, "I am really grateful to you. Let me tell you a fortune. I can do it. My grandmother taught me. It's a long ride anyway." "Oh, come on. I don't believe in this nonsense. All these fortune tellers, psychics, and people like them only steal money from gullible people and brainwash them with all sorts of nonsense. Besides, you don't look like a fortune teller. That's a very strange way to flirt with me." Olivia turned serious. "I'm not trying to flirt with you. You're not my type. And I really know how to tell fortunes. My grandmother taught me, and all our neighbors used to go to her for advice. I just wanted to thank you, but if it's so unpleasant for you, I won't insist." She turned away to the window and was silent, thinking about something. There was an awkward pause. Ethan realized he had been too rude and extended his hand to the girl. "Well, all right, let's do it. I wonder what you can see by looking at my hand." Olivia took his hand, concentrated, and closed her eyes. Ethan felt a pleasant warmth from her hand. Suddenly, the fortune teller felt like she was electrocuted. The girl jerked and recoiled, then did something that shocked Ethan. Olivia grabbed the locket around his neck, sharply ripped it off, and screamed, "You can't wear it. Don't ever wear it again, or you'll die. And don't go to the meeting today. A terrible tragedy will happen there. You'll be injured if you go. Don't go." All the passengers looked at them in total confusion. Someone whispered, "Insane. She's mentally unstable." Ethan got very indignant, snatched the locket from her hands, and shouted, "Are you out of your mind? What the hell are you doing? This is ridiculous. What does this have to do with my locket? It's an amulet called Valkyr. My wife gave it to me. She bought it during one of her trips. It's beautiful. And it has a symbol of protection on it. It's not dangerous. On the contrary, it gives me confidence and helps me in business. I've read about the meaning of this amulet. And what does this have to do with today's meeting? It's just lunch with my partners in a restaurant. What could happen there?" Ethan didn't even realize what a swindler Olivia was, but it seemed as if she didn't hear anyone. She leaned on the back of the seat, breathing heavily as if she had run a marathon, and repeated, "Spirits don't lie. You'll see that soon. Don't go anywhere today, please." Ethan didn't want to continue the unpleasant conversation and got off at the nearest bus stop, but he couldn't get Olivia's words out of his head. His indignation had no limit. Such a pretty girl turned out to be a swindler. It seemed like the day was completely ruined. He was late for his meeting, and this fortune teller had told him so many horrible things. The man walked for another 20 minutes and finally began to approach the restaurant where his meeting with his partners was supposed to take place. But he saw ambulances and 2 police cars near the entrance, and there was a crowd of people. Ethan was confused and began to ask what had happened. People told him that a man with a gun ran into the building, had a fight with one of the guests, and started shooting at people. Apparently he was drunk. Many people were injured, and several people died. Ethan's legs gave out, and he sat down on the pavement, holding his head in his hands. He couldn't believe that the fortune teller's words had been prophetic. She wasn't lying. If he had arrived on time, he could have been seriously hurt. He didn't believe Olivia, thinking she was crazy, but she had saved him. The man remained seated for a while, then got up and went home, still in shock. His wife, Freya, obviously didn't expect to see him so early. She was going somewhere, wearing a very provocative outfit, a very short dress, high-heeled boots, bright makeup, and some unusually sweet perfume. Ethan had never seen his wife like this. He almost shouted, "Freya, where are you going dressed like that? I'm sorry, but you look like a prostitute. What the hell is that?" The woman was confused but quickly pulled herself together and said, "Why did you come back so early? You said you had an important meeting today. I'm going shopping with the girls and then we'll have lunch and chat. It's been so long since we've seen each other. I hope you don't mind." Ethan frowned. "I don't mind your girly meetings, but only if you change your clothes. You've got plenty of normal clothes. What's wrong with you, Freya? I don't recognize you." The woman decided not to annoy her husband. She had always been cunning, so she obeyed, changed into a pantsuit, and wiped off the red lipstick. "Is everything okay now?" "All right, I have to go. Monica is waiting for me." Freya left, and Ethan sat at the kitchen table thinking. It was strange, because Freya had always told him that she hated sluttiness, but she was dressed like a harlot. He had never been home from work so early, and he had no idea how his wife was spending her free time. Then he thought of the locket. He pulled it out of his pocket, scrutinized it, and only now noticed that there was something inside the locket. The man's hands shook. He took scissors and managed to open the locket. Something that looked like crumpled gray absorbent cotton fell out of it. Weird. What does it mean? The man decided to figure it all out himself and take the locket to a laboratory for examination tomorrow. Ethan suddenly realized he didn't know his wife that well. His whole life flashed before his eyes. Ethan grew up in a good and decent family. His mother was an accountant, and his father was an automotive technician. They lived in prosperity and peace always prevailed at home. His mother knew how to calmly solve any misunderstandings and conflicts. Ethan inherited the business from his father, who opened his own car service long ago. At first, it was just a garage where only 2 people worked, but over the years the man developed his business, and now the garage had turned into a high-end car service where 10 professionals worked, mostly dealing with the repair of luxury cars. Since childhood, Ethan often helped his father and could even fix an engine if necessary. His father had recently retired, and now Ethan ran the business. He loved his work, respected his employees, and gave them good bonuses for great work. But Ethan's personal life didn't go well at first. He was not very sociable and couldn't easily talk to a girl he liked. His parents tried to help their son. His mother often invited the daughters of her friends for dinner, exceptionally decent and modest girls, but all in vain. The boy didn't like them. How could he like an extremely fat girl or a girl wearing ridiculous glasses? It was unacceptable to him. He met Freya by chance at his friend's birthday party. The girl was very bright and cheerful, and there were many men around her all the time. Freya looked stunning. She was wearing a tight red dress, accentuating the curves of her flawless body, and she had some kind of demonically attractive and provocative look in her green eyes. Ethan was flattered that such a pretty girl had chosen him. She walked up to him herself and asked him his name. She was laughing and joking. It was so interesting and comfortable with her. Ethan didn't even notice that they were already drinking cocktails together, and then they drove to his place. After a passionate night, they began to officially date. Ethan fell in love. He couldn't stop thinking about this gorgeous girl. Soon they had a beautiful wedding, and Freya became his official wife, although for some reason his friends didn't like her. They considered her a cunning liar, but Ethan didn't listen to anyone. He was madly in love. Over time, Freya decided to change her style. Now she bought expensive clothes and focused on elegance rather than sexuality and frankness. Her appearance was very bright and attractive, and delicate pastel colors only emphasized it even more. Ethan liked his wife's new style very much, and he still said every night before going to bed that he loved her more than anything else in the world. Before the wedding, Freya had worked as a cashier in a grocery store. She had been raised by her grandmother in a small village, but her granny died, and she had no other relatives. After the wedding, Ethan told her that if she didn't want to work, she didn't have to. His income was enough for a beautiful life for both of them. He often gave her flowers and expensive gifts, and 6 months ago, Ethan fell in love. He couldn't stop thinking about this gorgeous girl. Soon they had a beautiful wedding, and Freya became his official wife, although for some reason his friends didn't like her. They considered her a cunning liar, but Ethan didn't listen to anyone. He was madly in love. Over time, Freya decided to change her style. Now she bought expensive clothes and focused on elegance rather than sexuality and frankness. Her appearance was very bright and attractive, and delicate pastel colors only emphasized it even more. Ethan liked his wife's new style very much, and he still said every night before going to bed that he loved her more than anything else in the world. He decided to surprise his wife with a trip to the ocean for her birthday, but he couldn't go because of his job, so Freya went there alone. She came back from the trip very happy and brought Ethan a locket as a gift. Ethan liked it very much because he had long been collecting various antiques, vases, candlesticks, cigarette cases, and coins. The locket was very unusual. It was a complicated geometric composition with an unusual symbol framed by a solar circle in the center. Freya put the locket around his neck and whispered, "You should always wear it without taking it off. Then you will become successful and powerful, and your competitors won't be able to overpower you." After all, the warriors used to wear the Valkyr for good luck. Ethan was happy and constantly showed the locket to all his friends. He was pleased that his wife had chosen the gift with such great care. However, for the last 3 months, something strange began to happen to him. His strength seemed to leave him, and he had a bad cough. He had been working too much lately, so he was sure that it was just fatigue and didn't rush to see a doctor. But now, after the fortune teller's words, he realized that his health problems began exactly after he started wearing that locket. He hadn't even tried to connect these events before. On top of that, he was concerned that Freya didn't want children. She always said they should just enjoy life as a couple, but Ethan wanted to have a baby. He wanted warmth and comfort, to take care of a child, and to hear the word daddy. He even invited his friends who already had children to visit, hoping that Freya would see the little ones and want to become a mom too. Yesterday, Ethan was absolutely sure that he had a strong family and a loving wife, but this mysterious story with the locket bothered him a lot. The next day, Ethan took the locket to an independent laboratory. While he was waiting for the results, he noticed that his condition had really improved. He began to eat with appetite, his headache stopped, and his cough became less severe. However, when he picked up the results, he was shocked. The small piece of absorbent cotton inside the locket was covered in a rare, odorless poison that was slowly killing Ethan by penetrating through his skin into his body. The lab staff advised him to go to the police and undergo an examination at the hospital. Ethan still couldn't believe it and tried to justify his wife. "I wonder if Freya deliberately wanted to kill me or if she didn't know anything about the poison. Maybe she just bought this locket at some market and didn't know anything. We love each other, why would she want to kill me?" At first, Ethan wanted to talk to his wife and ask her directly about it, but he changed his mind. Freya would probably say she didn't know anything, throw a tantrum, and cry. There was no point in going to the police, yet either his wife would find an excuse anyway. She had bought it as a gift and didn't realize it was dangerous. Ethan decided not to say anything to anyone but to follow his wife. He followed her for a few days. He would arrive at work early in the morning, solve all the issues, then change into a tracksuit, baseball cap, and sunglasses, drive back home, and wait for Freya to go anywhere. She had her own car, which was also given to her by Ethan. On the 3rd day of his stakeout, Ethan found out something he didn't want to know. Freya came out of the building wearing her short dress, barely covering her legs, got into her car and drove off. Ethan followed her, hoping she was on her way to the gym or shopping center. He still wanted to believe that Freya loved him and wasn't up to anything bad. But Freya stopped in front of a hotel and went inside. Ethan followed her. He persuaded the receptionist to tell him which room Freya had gone to. The man was extremely nervous. He tried to open the door carefully, but it was locked. Then he knocked on the door and quietly said, "Your champagne, please open the door." He heard some man grumbling and Freya laughing, "But we didn't order champagne." "Okay, wait a minute, I'll open the door now." The door opened, and Ethan saw Freya on the bed, wearing only her underwear, and her lover, wearing only a robe. The bed was crumpled, and the bright lipstick on his wife's lips was smeared. Everything was clear. But what shocked Ethan even more was that he knew his wife's lover Sam, who had once worked for Ethan but had been caught stealing, and was instantly fired. Ethan couldn't control himself any longer. He immediately hit Freya's lover in the jaw. Sam fell to the floor. Freya screamed and covered her face with her hands. Ethan shouted so loud that the veins in his neck swelled. "Freya, how could you? I did everything to give you a beautiful life. But you've been cheating on me all this time. I'm going to throw all your stuff out of my apartment today. Don't even think about showing up on my doorstep. You can live with Sam now. Let him provide for you. Now I'm sure you gave me that locket with poison on purpose. You and your lover were waiting for me to die." Freya quickly dressed and spoke. "Ethan, forgive me, I beg you. I didn't want any of this. Sam seduced me and forced me to do it. He's a horrible person. I love you, Ethan." But Ethan shouted angrily, "Stop lying and making excuses, Freya. I'll never believe you again. You are disgusting to me." Ethan kicked his rival and ran out of the hotel. He felt so bad and resentful. The man didn't understand how Freya could do that. After all, she loved her husband, or was it just a lie? And where had that fortune teller come from? His life was great until he met that strange girl. Why did this terrible truth come out now? How can he trust women after everything that happened today? After Ethan left, Freya rushed to help her lover. She splashed water on his face and rubbed his cheeks. He finally came to his senses and rubbed his jaw, a huge bruise appearing on his cheek. The woman asked, "Sam, darling, how are you? Does it hurt a lot? What are we going to do now? I don't know how Ethan tracked me down. He's always at work at this time of day. Our plan didn't work. Not only that, he knows about the poisoned locket. I don't understand how he found out." Sam was angry, his head aching. He got up and began to blame Freya for everything. "It's all your fault. You are so stupid. Everything was going according to plan. He would have died soon, and I would have been rich and happy. And now, what? How could you let this happen? All you know how to do is spread your legs and nothing more," Sam shouted. Freya hadn't expected such a reaction. She wanted Sam to comfort her, to say that everything would be fine, that he would support and protect her. "Sam dear, don't say that. I did my best to please Ethan even though I don't even like him at all. I did everything you wanted. The plan didn't work. But that's not a big deal. I'll file for divorce. You're obsessed with revenge. Maybe it's time to stop. Forget about it and start living a normal life. Why can't we just be happy together? I want to have a baby with you," Freya pleaded. But Sam dressed in a hurry and didn't listen to her. He didn't really care about Freya. She had been in love with him since high school, and he had decided to take advantage of it. But now that the plan had failed, he didn't need her anymore. He thought she was just a beautiful doll with no brains, nothing more. He didn't plan to marry her and raise children with her. He only cared about money. With money, he could get any beauty he wanted. So he whispered angrily, "A baby? Are you insane? Everything that's happened is your fault. So solve your problems on your own. I'm leaving, and don't call me. As soon as things calm down, I'll find you myself." Freya cried and begged, "But Sam, it was your plan. I did it all for you, and now you want to leave me? Where will I go? Ethan won't let me stay at his place, and I don't even have my own place. You said you loved me. I trusted you." The man realized that she was about to throw a tantrum. He urgently needed to calm her down. Sam hugged her and began to whisper affectionate words. He knew that it worked perfectly with her. In such a condition, she would agree to anything. Freya couldn't control herself. Sam was like a drug she couldn't live without. He told her that she should sue Ethan and get as much property from him as possible. Then he gave her some money for rent, called a cab, and left. Freya trusted Sam as much as before and couldn't refuse him. Soon, Ethan divorced Freya, and the divorce process was very stressful. Ethan regretted not listening to his father 3 years ago. His dad had advised him to sign a marriage contract, but Ethan was so in love that he was sure this marriage would last forever. Arrogant Freya tried to get a part of his property. She often called him and yelled, "Yes, Sam, I never loved you. I never even liked you. Sam is my first love. We've been together since high school. I'd give my life for him. I dreamed that you'd die, and Sam would run your business. I only married you because Sam asked me to. He wanted to take revenge, and I helped him do it. He's the one I'm really happy with, not you. But you must give me half of what we acquired in the marriage: the car, the house on the coast, and the jewelry." Ethan was shocked by the insolence of his ex-wife. He replied sharply, "That's not going to happen. I will do my best to make sure that you don't get anything. You're a monster, Freya. I regret being an idiot and wasting 3 years of my life living with you." Ethan hired a good lawyer, but he had to spend a lot of money. The lawyer found witnesses who saw the scene of Freya's adultery in the hotel. The lawyer managed to prove that Freya had never worked a day during their marriage, and therefore she could not demand anything. The court also learned about the story of the poison in the locket. Ethan won the case, and Freya was left with nothing. Ethan's parents were genuinely happy that he got divorced. His mom told him, "Ethan dear, don't be sad. Fortunately, you found out everything before the tragedy happened. But we warned you that Freya was not a good person, but you didn't believe us. Just try to find the girl who helped you find out the truth. You should thank her after all, she saved you." At first, Ethan suffered a lot. He spent all his time at work, and sometimes even slept in the office to avoid thinking about everything that had happened. He felt like an idiot. It seemed like everyone knew about the situation and was making fun of him behind his back. How could he be so wrong? When he'd first introduced Freya to his parents, his mom had warned him, "Ethan, you're a grown man now and can make decisions yourself. But I don't think this girl is honest with you. She's not right for you. I don't think she loves you. She's always either looking at herself in the mirror or texting someone on her phone. My motherly heart feels that something is wrong with her. Think twice before you make a decision." But Ethan had only gotten angry and answered his mother, "Mom, I think you're exaggerating. Freya is charming. I love her very much, and she loves me too. I've never been so happy before. Don't you understand? We'll get married anyway and be happy. You'll see." His friends also kept saying, "Ethan, don't you realize that Freya is completely wrong for you? She will cheat on you at the first opportunity," but Ethan was blinded by love and didn't listen to anyone. He married Freya despite the warnings. He thought that they were happy and that Freya was happy with him too. But it turned out that she lied to him every day, every minute. These thoughts caused him even more pain. He wanted to get drunk and forget about everything at least for a couple of hours, but he stopped himself because he realized that alcohol would not help him, and his work didn't allow him to sink into depression. When the divorce process was over, Ethan really decided to find Olivia. He thought of her often. It turned out she really was gifted. She had saved his life. But instead of thanking her, he had only scolded her. He didn't know anything about this mysterious girl. Who was she? Where did she live? How could he find her? Ethan had nothing left to do. He decided to get on the same bus where they had met and just drive the route, hoping that Olivia would get on it again. He rode that bus every day for a week, but he never met Olivia. The man was upset. A week later, he decided that today would be the last time he would ride that bus. If he didn't meet Olivia, then the universe didn't want him to find her. But a miracle happened. Olivia entered the bus again. This time she paid for the ticket and took a seat by the window. Ethan only now noticed how beautiful she was, but her beauty was special. She was not wearing any makeup or a provocative outfit, but even without that, the girl looked bright and attractive. Her long blonde curls reached almost her waist. Ethan was overjoyed and immediately rushed over to her. "Olivia, I'm so glad to see you. I've been looking for you for so long. I've been riding this bus for a week now. And I didn't expect to see you again. I just wanted to thank you. You literally saved my life twice. Everything you said happened. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. Can I invite you over for dinner? My parents would also like to meet you and thank you." The girl was surprised. She blushed and replied, "I am glad I helped you. I told you that spirits never lie. A scene flashes before my eyes for only a second, but it's enough to understand what's going to happen. It's a gift I got from my grandmother. I'd love to join you for dinner. But I can't. I have a son who's sick now, and my neighbor is babysitting him while I'm away. When I'm away, but I try not to be gone for too long. You can come and visit us if you want. I'll write down the address now. I'll also leave you my phone number." Ethan became serious and wondered, "Really? But why can't you help yourself? Can't you predict your future to avoid troubles?" Olivia grinned sadly. "No, of course not. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. I'm an ordinary person. I had a disappointing marriage and a painful divorce, and now Alex is sick. Visions don't come on demand. Besides, I can't see my own future at all. But what happened to your son? I'm not asking out of curiosity. Maybe there's something I can do to help your child, Ethan said gently. Olivia explained, Alex has a congenital intestinal anomaly. It's very serious, but the doctors couldn't diagnose it for a long time. My son has always suffered from abdominal pain and didn't gain weight properly. Doctors constantly examined him and prescribed drugs, but there was no relief. Finally, after a comprehensive examination, he was given this terrible diagnosis. He needs surgery to completely get rid of this disease. Now he doesn't go to kindergarten and follows a special diet. I used to work as an accountant before my son was born, but when Alex got sick, I had to quit. I had a miserable salary that wasn't enough for us. Besides, my son needs care. That's when I thought of my superpower, which I inherited from my grandmother. I placed an ad online, and now clients come to me for advice. I don't make a lot of money, but it's enough to live well and save money for the surgery. I want him to be a healthy child, to eat like everyone else, to enjoy life. And I don't consider myself a swindler because I don't lie to people. I only say what I see. Ethan listened silently, sympathized, and then quietly asked, "Can I come to visit you tomorrow? I really want to meet your son." You know, I like children. I always wanted a son, but my ex-wife didn't want them. Olivia rejoiced, "Sure, Ethan. I'll be home tomorrow. Alex and I will wait for you." On the way home, Ethan stopped by his parents' house. He didn't want to spend his day off alone. Over dinner, he told them about Olivia and her troubles. His mom sincerely sympathized with her, poor girl. There's nothing worse than seeing your kids suffer, especially when you can't help them. Ethan, you should go and visit them. Ask her if there's anything you can do to help, and don't even think about Freya anymore. Forget her like a bad dream. No matter how hard it is for you. Believe me, fate will punish her. You need to move on. Not all women are like her. I'm sure you'll be lucky and meet a decent girl. Ethan bought paints and brushes for Alex, a chocolate cake, and a lovely bouquet of violets for Olivia. The girl was very happy when she saw Ethan. He walked into the kitchen and saw a sad boy. Alex was reluctantly eating some strange food that looked like baby formula. He saw Ethan and waved at him in a friendly manner. "Mommy, who is this guy?" "Well, he brought cake. Too bad I can't eat it." "Mom, why can't I have cake?" The girl introduced her guest. "Alex, meet Ethan. Ethan is my friend. He came to visit us. You can play with Ethan later, but now you need to eat at least a little. You are too skinny." But the child didn't want to eat his tasteless food and started banging his spoon on the table, looking at the cake. Tears welled up in the boy's eyes. Ethan sat down next to him. "Hey, Alex, do you like to draw? I brought you something. Look." The boy looked at the drawing set. "Thanks, Ethan. How did you know I'm good at drawing?" "I only have watercolors, but they are very old." Ethan continued, "I like to draw too, but it's very boring to draw alone. Why don't we draw together? But first, we have to eat. I'll help you. Olivia, give me a big spoon too. Alex, look, I'll eat everything faster than you, and I'll go to draw first." The boy quickly calmed down. The competitive spirit awoke in him, and he exclaimed, "Let's bet that I'll be the first to finish eating and start drawing." "Mommy, count to 10, but give Ethan the same spoon as mine so the competition is fair." Olivia counted out loud and encouraged her son. He ate as quickly as never before. Ethan kept up too, but of course he let the boy win. The satisfied boy poured water into a glass and rushed to his room to open the drawing set. Olivia smiled. "Thank you. I usually don't have the patience to feed him. He wants to eat the same things as all kids' sweets and soda, but he can't have any." Ethan sincerely said, "He's a nice and smart kid. If you don't mind, I'll go and draw with him. It's been a long, long time since I've hung out with kids. It's so interesting." The time passed quickly. Ethan and Alex drew a beautiful picture. The little boy turned out to be sociable and cheerful. Apparently his friends rarely came to see him, so he was very happy to communicate with Ethan. He talked about his small victories. "Did you know that my mom submitted my drawings for a contest? I ranked second. I wish I could go to kindergarten, but the food they make there doesn't suit me. And I also have to take pills every day to prevent tummy aches. Mom says that soon the doctors will cure me, and I will be like all the other kids." I believe her. My mom never lies, but she cries a lot at night. She thinks I can't hear, but I do. You know, our neighbor lets me ride his son's bicycle. I'm already good at it, but my mom scolds me, saying that bicycles are for adults. She's afraid I'll fall and break my leg. Ethan, do you have children? No, Alex, unfortunately not. But I'd really like to be friends with you. Can I come and visit you from time to time? After all, I need a partner to draw pictures. The boy rejoiced. Sure. Come whenever you want. I'll be waiting for you. You're a nice guy, and thanks for the presents. It was getting dark outside, and Ethan was getting ready to go home. Olivia looked at him gratefully and said, "Thank you, Ethan. He is so excited about any communication. Come over whenever you want. We'd be happy to see you." Ethan and Olivia became friends. He began to visit them often and play with Alex. Besides, he decided to help this wonderful little boy become healthy. So the man found all the information about his diagnosis and the cost of treatment and was not even afraid to withdraw such a large amount of money from the company's bank account, even though it was risky. All he cared about was the child's health. He went to the doctor, paid for everything, and the doctor scheduled surgery. "I've got good news. I've just been to the hospital. Alex, Olivia, get ready for surgery. The hospital is really good, and I talked to the doctor. The prognosis is good. They promise that after the surgery. Alex will live like everyone else and forget about intestinal problems. He will eat normally and enjoy life, just like any other kid." Olivia was shocked, and Alex started jumping happily. "Yay, Mommy. The doctor is going to cure me. I'll be able to eat everything I want like normal kids. Mommy, will I go to kindergarten?" Olivia couldn't believe it. "Ethan, I don't understand. I was told that in order to get free surgery, we have to wait at least a few years." "Wait, did you pay for it all yourself? But that's a lot of money. I don't even know how soon I'll be able to pay you back. I have about a third of the money. I'll give it to you right now. And I'll give you the rest as soon as I can. I promise. Ethan, you're like a magician. Tell me, why are you helping us? We're just strangers to you." The man took her hand and said, "I'm helping you sincerely, and I won't take any money from you. You're going to need it. The doctor warned me that the surgery is complicated, and there's a long recovery ahead. The main thing is for Alex to endure everything and recover. I'll always be there for you. I just want you to know that I like you very much." The girl squeezed his hand in response, and tears sparkled in her eyes. Then she said quietly, "Ethan, thank you so much for saving my son. I will never forget it, but let's talk about the rest later. It's so unexpected. I'm sorry, but I can't think about anything but the surgery." The surgery was successful, but the recovery period wasn't easy. The boy got antibiotic injections every day. He was very weak and had a fever for a long time, and during this period he was not allowed to eat almost anything. He had to follow a strict diet, but the boy endured everything like a real brave man. He didn't throw tantrums, was patient, and waited for the day when he would finally be discharged from the hospital. Olivia stayed in the hospital room with her son. Ethan visited them often, entertained the child, and sometimes stayed with Alex, letting Olivia go home to get some sleep and take a shower. Together they withstood everything, and Alex was finally allowed to eat regular food. The boy was beyond happy. He recovered, gained strength, and finally went to kindergarten again. The relationship between Ethan and Olivia became closer. They couldn't imagine life without each other and lived almost as a family. When Alex was fully recovered, Ethan offered Olivia a job. "Would you like to work for me as a consultant? Your intuition is amazing. I would really need your help and your superpower before making deals. I promise a decent salary. Besides, we'll see each other even more often. You know, I feel so good with you. It feels like we've always lived like this. I've become so attached to Alex. It's like he's my son. Tell me, Olivia, do you like me at least a little? It's important for me to know the truth." The girl hugged him and kissed him on the lips. Olivia began to stroke his hair and whispered, "Ethan, don't you realize that yet? No man has ever done for me what you've done. I don't just like you, I love you more than life. You and Alex. You know, his biological father wasn't happy when I got pregnant, and when Alex was born. He didn't show much love for him. After a while, my husband gave up on him. When he found out about his diagnosis, my husband told me that Alex is defective and I'm pathetic. I almost lost my mind then. It was such a betrayal. I thought I would never be able to fall in love with anyone again. But you're different. You literally saved my child. I love you. I agree to be your faithful friend, your life partner, your wife, whatever you want." Ethan was overjoyed to hear that and decided to take a responsible step. "Olivia, will you be my wife? I promise to keep you and Alex safe from any problems. You two gave me the feeling of a real family with children's laughter and common interests, where everyone cares about each other. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Only now I realized how stupid I was. I didn't notice that Freya loved only herself, but love must be mutual. When they told Alex about their decision, he was overjoyed. You're going to be my dad now? That's so great. And now you will move in with us. Ethan picked up the child and hugged him. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for accepting me into your family. I would love to be your dad. Remember, I'll always support you, and I won't let anyone hurt you. But I suggest everyone move in with me. I have a big house, a backyard, and a barbecue zone. There's even a good school nearby. Besides, I'll introduce you to Grandma Melanie and Grandpa Richard. We'll go visit them soon. They have a huge dog, Byron. He is kind and faithful and even knows how to give a paw. You will definitely make friends with him. The boy clapped his hands, so cool. I would also like to have a dog. I often have dreams about walking with a dog and feeding it, but Mom doesn't allow me to have a dog in the apartment. So Mom, did you say yes? We're moving in with Ethan, right? Olivia kissed her son and laughed, of course, Alex. Of course I said yes, and I really like dogs too. But the landlady of the apartment we rent is against having pets. But if we move into a house, I promise we will think about getting a dog. Ethan and Olivia got married and moved into the man's house. Olivia quickly turned the house into a cozy home. Ethan was insanely happy and still couldn't believe that women like Olivia existed. She didn't sleep until lunchtime like Freya. She always got up earlier than everyone else to make breakfast, clean the house, and do the laundry herself. For Alex's birthday, Ethan gave him a present that the boy had been dreaming of for a long time. They threw a birthday party at home. Olivia made a huge chocolate cake, which Alex was allowed to eat now. They invited Olivia's mom and Ethan's parents and started giving the little birthday boy presents. He got a bicycle, a soccer ball, and a new backpack. When it was Ethan's turn, he handed the birthday boy a big box tied with a red bow. Here, this is for you, son. I hope you will love it. Strange sounds came from the box. Tears streamed from Alex's eyes. He immediately guessed that there was a puppy in the box. The boy rushed to open the box, and when he saw an adorable puppy, he immediately snuggled it and began to cry, but they were tears of happiness. Dad. Daddy. Thank you. You're the best. At that moment, everyone started crying. It was a very emotional moment. Ethan explained, Son, I took this puppy from the shelter. His previous owners kicked him out, but the volunteers found him and saved him. We need to treat him in a special way so that he learns to trust people again. But I think the puppy already loves you. He's wagging his tail looking at you. The puppy really wagged his little tail and licked the boy's cheeks. Alex stroked him and said, I will call him Baxter and teach him commands. Daddy, why don't we feed him? Can I give him a piece of meat? He must be hungry, right? Can we make a small dog house for him? You know, today is the happiest day of my life. Life went on as usual. Ethan's family lived in love and harmony, and Alex was already in the 3rd grade. One day Ethan's mother fell, and she had to undergo surgery. Ethan and Olivia were visiting her in the hospital when they saw a woman on a stretcher. Her face was covered in blood, and she was unconscious. The hospital staff immediately took the patient to the operating room. There was no time to delay. The paramedic in the emergency room reported, Freya Smith, 37 years old, multiple stab wounds, liver injury, critical condition. Her minor daughter was at home, but we haven't been able to find out anything about other relatives. We took her child with us for now. But I guess we will have to take her to an orphanage later. I feel so sorry for the girl. She was very hungry, wearing dirty clothes, and she is very strange. Ethan approached the paramedics. I know that woman. She's my ex-wife, who injured her so badly. It's horrible. If you don't know what to do with her child, she can stay with me until her mother recovers. I'll try to find out who the child's father is. Maybe he'll pick her up. Freya has no other relatives, I know for sure. The paramedic shook her head. Actually, that's not according to instructions, but we don't have time to take her to the orphanage now anyway. Okay, let the girl stay with you for now, but I'll inform the social worker. Please give me your address and phone number. If the woman doesn't make it, social services will contact you and pick up the girl. Ethan looked pleadingly at Olivia. He didn't know how she would react to this situation, but she patted his shoulder encouragingly and whispered, Don't worry, I don't mind at all. We need to help the girl. It's not her fault. I can only imagine how stressed she is, poor kid. Ethan whispered back, Thank you for understanding. You know, I'm actually surprised. Freya didn't like children before and refused to have a baby. The nurse brought the girl. She looked really bad, her eyes full of pain and tears, her clothes very dirty. Ethan was confused, not knowing what to say to her. After all, they were just strangers. But Olivia reacted quickly. "Hello, sunshine. What's your name?" "I'm Olivia, and I have a son named Alex." Surprisingly, the girl replied, "My name is Maria. My mom is going to die, isn't she? I'm scared. I love my mommy." Olivia sat down on a chair, took the child in her arms, and began to whisper, "No, darling, your mother will recover. The doctor will cure her, you'll see." "But why is mommy sick?" "We would like you to stay with us, but if you don't want to, just tell us, and we will take you to a big kindergarten." The little girl answered fearfully, "No, I don't want to go to the kindergarten. Everyone there is mean. Will you beat me?" Ethan was horrified. Poor baby, she was about 3 years old. "Did Freya really beat her?" The man replied, "Maria, don't be afraid. No one will hurt you. Alex will play and be friends with you. So will you come to visit us?" Ethan left his contact information and business card at the hospital, and they took the girl home. They didn't talk about Freya in front of her to avoid causing her more distress. They bathed her, gave her clean clothes, and began to feed her. She ate greedily, clearly often starving. Alex welcomed the guest warmly, played with her, and then Maria fell asleep. Alex also went to his room, and the adults were finally able to talk. Ethan was astonished. "Oh my goodness, what happened to Freya after the divorce? I was so mad at her for trying to kill me, for cheating on me, for trying to get my property. I erased her from my life and have no idea what her life was like after the divorce. I was sure she and Sam got married. Maria's 3 years old now. Which means Freya gave birth to her after we divorced. But what if she's my daughter? I can't stop thinking about it. Olivia. I feel so sorry for the child. It's obvious that Freya didn't love her. She didn't even feed her properly. I don't understand what happened to Freya. I must talk to the investigator and find out everything." Olivia also felt sorry for the girl, but she decided to clear things up in a different way with the help of her gift. The woman took her husband by the hand and led him into the nursery. Maria was sleeping very restlessly, often turning from side to side and even crying. Olivia took her little hand and concentrated. There was a flash, and images flashed before her eyes like frames of a movie. Olivia couldn't breathe. Then she carefully let go of the girl's hand, covered her with a blanket, and they quietly returned to the kitchen. Ethan wanted to find out everything immediately. Olivia took a sip of water, exhaled, and began to speak. "Maria is not your daughter. There's no blood connection between you. But what I saw shocked me. Some drunken man was abusing Maria. Freya was afraid and didn't even try to protect her daughter. She also drinks heavily. This man, I guess he is Freya's lover, is the one who attacked her. It was horrible." Maria was hiding under the table and crying. She was very scared. Poor child. Even if Freya recovers, what awaits Maria? What kind of life can Freya give her? We have to protect her somehow. Ethan talked to the investigator. Freya had started drinking heavily, bringing home lovers, drinking and having fun with them. Little Maria was often starving. She survived only thanks to neighbors who fed her and gave her clothes. The woman didn't know who the child's father was, as she had too many lovers. Obviously, the woman didn't need her daughter at all. Ethan was dumbfounded, but he couldn't stand it and asked about Freya's ex-lover Sam. He was imprisoned a long time ago. In prison, he caught tuberculosis and passed away. Ethan shook his head and said confidently, "I want you to know, I don't care that Maria has such a horrible mother and no father. I want to adopt this poor girl. My wife and I are living a prosperous life, raising our son. The girl will be fine with us." The investigator nodded, a brave decision. It deserves respect. Let's wait for the girl's mother to come to her senses first, and then we can talk about it. If Freya survives, the fate of this girl depends on her. In order for you to adopt her, Freya must either relinquish the child herself and sign the papers, or the guardianship authorities must terminate her parental rights. Freya never regained consciousness and died a week later in intensive care. Apparently, it was payback for everything she had done. Ethan organized the funeral not for the sake of Freya, but for the sake of her daughter. They hesitated to tell her the truth for a long time and tried to surround Maria with love and affection. Little by little, the girl came to her senses and got used to Ethan and Olivia. Alex was a little jealous at first, but then he also accepted the girl into their family and loved his new sister. Ethan's acquaintances and friends didn't understand him. Freya cheated on him, but he decided to raise her daughter. That's so stupid. Why does he need this responsibility? He should have sent her to an orphanage and let the state take care of her. But Olivia and Ethan didn't listen to anyone. They truly loved this girl. They were sure they had done the right thing by giving the girl a happy childhood. After all, children are not responsible for the sins of their parents, and they shouldn't suffer. Ethan's parents also welcomed their granddaughter warmly, even though at first they tried to talk their son out of adopting her. Maria loved her new parents, brother and grandparents. She was no longer afraid of adults and loved to cuddle and spend time with her family. Ethan and Olivia loved both children equally. Their family was very friendly. They both believed that if they gave their children warmth and affection and loved them sincerely, they would grow up to be good and decent people. After all, the model of human behavior and way of life is formed in childhood. If dad loves mom, their son will also become a good husband. The same is true for girls. If a girl grows up with love and affection from childhood, she will become a good wife and mother.